It's literally a trolley. Alright, so before I get to doing any work on the layout, especially in front of the camera, I need to clean up a little bit. I know William Sampson's really big on that. You've probably seen in a couple of his episodes, if you follow his channel, where he spends some time just cleaning, just getting everything put away, organized, looks neater, looks better. It's easier to think, for me anyways, and it'll just help me get a better perspective on the layout. So I'll go over some of the stuff I purchased recently, some of the things that I'm working on, some of the things I'm changing around. We'll get to that after cleanup, so hold on tight, because it's going to happen pretty quick, for you guys at least. Alright, so now that we've got everything kind of cleaned up and tidied up a little bit, maybe a few more things along the way, but I can see so much more of the layout now and more possibilities of what I can do, kind of the space that's actually available versus what I thought was available. Now I'm going to make a to-do list of things I want to work on today or in the near future. I try not to shoot too far out because things change and flex and bend, and that doesn't always work out. So I'm going to write down a few things. One thing that we need to do is change out the electrofrog switch. Another thing we have to do is plot out the new buildings. Something else is we have to kind of figure out if we are going to have space over here for an intermodal yard. We need to plot out space. I've got the buildings over there, or the kits I should say, but now we got to plot out the space for the LPG facility. And I'm sure there'll be more things as they come along, but we want to make sure we consolidate track and cork. Alright, so with that done, I put some of the extra track and cork down at the end of the layout. I've got boxes of it down here. I've got a fresh box of track ready to go. I've got a partial box with some extra pieces, different lengths, which are always handy. You want to make sure we keep those together, because you never know. If this is sitting over here behind a building, you're not going to see this, and you could use that piece down there instead of cutting up one of these, which you might use somewhere else. So it's always handy to save this. If anything, when you're done, you just snap the rail out and you just set it right along the right-of-way or by a yard, or just set it in a pile somewhere. You never know when you might use it. It looks good, it's handy, and it's free. You've already paid for it. Ooh, a couple other things I gotta write down. Alright, let's get started, shall we? Alright, so I've got a couple things here I've purchased recently. I've been saving up for them. So I've got a little extra money I put aside every week to save up, so after a month or so I'm able to buy one of these cars. Now, some of you who know me are probably wondering, what the heck are you doing with these? You're Milwaukee Road, Wisconsin Southern, WC, and a few other random things, but definitely not a Union Pacific guy. Well, here's the thing. I want to model the big boy as it went to Promontory Point. So to do that, I ordered the one from Athearn that's actually got the big boy chalk mark on the front of the engine, and I've got both these tenders. Well, this is the one behind the big boy. That was behind 844. Well, yeah, it was. So I'm trying to find 844, and I'm trying to find a matchable diesel unit to go with it. But if I can't find it, I'll run the SD70 Ace 1943 that they had. I'll use that in its place. I'm pretty okay with that. So I got these at Hiawatha Hobbies. This is the only place I was able to find them. Could not find them online. They weren't available anywhere that I could see, so I bought them at my local hobby shop. And I found two that were in good condition, that weren't damaged through shipping or mishandling. Something else. It happens from time to time when something occurs to our equipment that was beyond our control. Well, I haven't found the screw anywhere yet, but the screw fell out of the coupler pocket in this car from Exactrail. I'm not sure why it fell out, but it might have something to do with the fact that there's no threads in there at all. So I still have to contact Exactrail about replacing this piece here, or what I can do to fix this. I might just end up having to glue it shut. The coupler works just fine, but being that I'm using trip pins on most of my stuff these days, before I glue it shut, I might put a trip pin coupler in there, just so I don't have to worry about changing out later, and if I decide again to not have trip pins, I can just snip it off nice and easy. Something else is for uncoupling. These are really popular. They're just little kebab sticks. My dad made this one for me. He just waxed the end so that way he could tell which one was his, which one was mine. I believe his was blue or green. Mine is red. He passed away 3 years ago. I believe his is with him. So I still keep this one. This is my favorite operating stick. It's great for coupling and uncoupling cars. We line this guy up here. Actually, you know what? Some of those cars uncouple a little too easily on their own. So we'll go like this. Whatever size coupler you have in HO scale, this is pretty handy. Just get it in there. Give a little poke and a twist. That's simple. Just like that. I also found a pack of these. This is like $2. I forget what grocery store we were at, but they're just bamboo skewers. They work the same. They're super cheap, so if you go through a lot of them, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to hurt your pocketbook. Same basic principle. Put it in there, twist it back and forth a couple times, and boom, your car's uncoupled. Just like that. Works really well. They're very inexpensive. And you can pick them up at almost any grocery store or find some online. Just make sure you try to get something relatively narrow. If it's too wide, it may not work the best. But as a friend of mine, Sean McGrath, found out recently, you can also use a lead pencil. Just sharpen the tip and it'll actually lubricate your couplers a little bit. Not that it's hugely important, but it helps them couple and uncouple. Aside from that, there's not a whole lot of new stuff. Mostly working on track work. So we'll get to that. Let's remove a switch. Alright, so the plan right now is to remove this switch. You might be thinking, why? It's a perfectly good switch. It's already in there. What are you doing? Well, here's the deal. This is an insulated switch, an electrofrog switch. And it's insulated by these two pieces of rail being cut. So what I want to do is replace it with an Insulfrog switch. So it matches everything else I have, and the wiring will be a little bit simpler for me. So all I have to do is slide these rail joiners back enough to pop it out. So one of the other things that you might know about me is I use N-scale rail joiners. Why, you might ask? Well, they're smaller, they're easier to handle sometimes, and quite frankly, they grab the track better than the HO Atlas rail joiners that I would have otherwise been using. Why not use Pico? I don't care for the looks of them on the track. This conforms to the bottom of the rail better, and they're smaller to be able to do stuff like this. So if a switch went bad, or if I screwed up a switch, or if someone else did, or one was having problems, I could easily do this. So let's get started. First thing we have to do is slide the rail joiners back far enough to be able to remove the switch. Whether it's on the switch that's coming out or on the nearest switch, doesn't really matter. So since these still just have a little bit covering them, what we're going to do is go ahead and remove the pins or the track nails of the switch. That one's free. We just need to slide this guy back a little bit further. Ugh. Since that guy only needs to go a little bit further, what we're going to do is use this razor blade, use this blade here, to create some space. Move the rail joiner back forward, and we're just going to slip this in here. The gap already is. We're just going to shave back just a little bit. There we go. Just like that. Cap this guy now that we're done with them. Boom, just like that. Now we're going to take these two switches, these electrofrogs, and get them out of the way so they don't get used again accidentally. Put this guy in, just like so. Slide our rail joiners over. Slide this guy back in. We're all set, just like that. So what I'll do is I'll go back through, drill two or three or four holes, and tack them back into place. Now that we're done with that switch, we're going to clean up over here, put those switches out of the way so I don't accidentally use them again, and then we're going to go to the next task on the list. Something tells me it's going to take a little bit of time to plot out where these things are going to go. We've got a few buildings, we've got a little bit of space left over here. We got to use it to the most efficient way possible. Let's give it a try. Alright, so we went and got everything plotted, had a few new things planned out, moved things around, made some adjustments, set down some track, didn't nail or glue anything. So what we'll do is, now that this is for the most part buttoned up until I get a few more buildings made, we're going to go over and review some of the things that we had done and about approximately how much time it took. Alright, so the first thing we did was we cleaned up the layout, got some of the extra stuff off, put stuff away, combined and condensed the track and cork. Then we came through and we made some changes. We adjusted some of the buildings, some of the tracks, some of the layouts, some of the structures to better suit what we needed. Oh. So the cement building is currently over here where Pepsi used to be. Morton Salt's behind there. Pepsi's over here now, and we may be ripping up just a little bit of track just to move things around. And I think that'll work a little bit better. We also isolated the three key sections of intermodal: TOFC, container, and auto racks. Those are the intermodal systems on my layout. So now container is just over here, TOFC is just over here, and intermodal will be back there. So now that that's kind of out of the way, I've got things smoothed out and simplified a bit. I'm going to have a large grain elevator over here. That's going to be, quote unquote, you know, taking it from the elevators in the surrounding areas and bringing it to the Port of Milwaukee to get loaded into the ships, and then this area can kind of represent the lake. And then back here, this will eventually be where the other elevators are, the main yard. And I've decided to kind of turn this portion here into an engine facility. So I'll have the refueling and sanding facilities over here. And this will be kind of the abandoned station that's been converted into a yard. At least that's the plan. Another thing I'm working on is condensing what I have down here, making it a little bit more neat and useful. I still need to go get some storage products to take care of that. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the way things are working out. Once I get some wiring done, I'll be able to start running and actually run from here all the way over to here. And not that it's a lot, but I can start switching and practicing some techniques for operations. So with all that done and said, it's time to wrap it up for this evening. I'm hoping that by the next time I do this, I'll have some of this laid out over here and some more of this tacked down over here, but we'll see what happens. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time. Now for the best part of all the work, playing with the trains. I'm just going to go through, have some fun testing it out, see how it all works. Switch everything around, try a few different engines, See what can and cannot navigate the switches of the Port of Milwaukee. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Hope to see you around some more. Hey, so some of you might know I'm a little sneaky, and once in a while at the end of my videos I put something cool at the end, and it's something exciting and fun and tantalizing. Well, this is one of those times. I've got something kind of cool and special coming up I think you guys are really going to like, and gals. And if you've noticed, I've been sharing a certain someone's YouTube and updates on my channel. Now, if you know this person, awesome, because she does some great work. I think you're going to start seeing some of it on my layout. So stay tuned after the credits. You might just get something special yourself. Now, don't mind me, I'm just dusting my caboose.